Tanya Granick-Allen, president of PAFE, Parents as First Educators, and I'm going to talk to you today about how to vote and how to fill up a ballot in the federal Conservative leadership race. Okay, so you will have received by now a ballot that looks like this, a piece of mail that says the Conservative Party and says your ballot's enclosed. So please proceed, open up the ballot, the envelope rather, take out all the contents. You'll see there will be a letter with the word leadership at the top. Then you'll have one envelope, and you'll have a second envelope. And then on top of that, inside the main envelope, you'll also have a ballot. So those are the 4 items: a letter, a ballot, and 2 envelopes. So what do we do now? Well, many of us want to see a family values protected and strengthened in Canada. And that's why it's so important that we cast a vote for someone who has been very strong and has campaigned and been very vocal on these issues. Out of the 14 candidates running on the ballot, PAFE is endorsing 2 of them. While many others have some merit, PAFE will only endorse those candidates who are clear and campaigning on these issues. PAFE endorses, therefore, Brad Trost and Pierre Lemieux. So we're asking, please, that you mark them as your top 2 choices in whichever order you prefer. So Brad Trost and Pierre Lemieux. Some of you have expressed concerns. Will voting for one as ranking number 1 and the other ranking number 2, will that actually split the vote? Well, great news. There is no such thing as splitting the vote in the system. In fact, the more candidates you vote for, the better. So as long as you remember this one important rule: vote for the candidate you like best as your number 1 choice, and the second best as your second choice, and the third best as number 3, and so on and so forth. You only have to vote for 1 candidate to make this ballot valid, and you can vote for a maximum of 10. So we're asking that you, at the very least, vote for Pierre Lemieux and Brad Trost. So what about the other candidates? Okay, well, did you know that many of them marched in the Gay Pride Parade last year in Toronto? Those people include Maxime Bernier, Kelly Leach, Michael Chong, and Lisa Rayet. So for PAFE, that's an automatic disqualifier. You should also note, by the way, that the same group of downtown Toronto strategists and advisors who are advising Patrick Brown are also working and advising for Maxime Bernier. So remember, Patrick Brown initially said he was against the Kathleen Wynne sex ed curriculum when he wanted to become leader of the Progressive Conservative Party in Ontario. But then we remember last August what happened. He said that now he supports the curriculum. Well, we don't want another Patrick Brown disaster, so let's not support Maxime Bernier, who again is being run by Patrick Brown's team. So that leaves us with a few others. For example, Aaron O'Toole and Chris Alexander. Well, what's wrong with those 2? Well, are you aware that they voted in favor of Bill C-279? What was wrong with that bill? Well, that was the famous transgender bathroom bill. And that bill, had it passed, would have allowed men to use the same bathroom and change rooms that girls used. So again, automatic disqualifier for PAFE. And then there's also Andrew Scheer, who's running. Now, on to the vote. Step 1, open your ballot. There it is, close up. You can see there are 10 columns, and all the candidates' names are listed here. So we now have the ballot in our hands. Now we're asking to fill your first choice. Again, please fill in either Brad Trost or Pierre Lemieux as your number 1 choice. So you take a black or blue ink pen and fill in the bubble beside either Pierre Lemieux or Brad Trost. That's for your first choice. Now move on to your second choice. Again, fill in only 1 bubble and mark the person you didn't mark for your first. So if you put Brad Trost first choice, then put Pierre Lemieux as a second choice. Or if you put Pierre Lemieux as your first choice, please in your second choice, mark Brad Trost. Please do not fill in more than 1 bubble per choice, or else you will make your ballot invalid. Next question, next thing to do is step 4. We're going into the part where we have to photocopy our identification. So in order for this ballot to be marked valid, you have to prove that you are the person filling out the ballot. So you will require to verify your picture, so photo ID, and also your address. So if you have a driver's license, that would satisfy both requirements, because your driver's license has both your photo and it also has your address. What happens if you don't have a driver's license? Well, you could use your health card, that has a picture on it, but then you also need to supplement it with a photocopy of something that proves your address. So like a utility bill, cable bill, gas bill, hydro bill, cell phone bill, something like that. You can also take a photocopy of a prescription bottle label that has, again, your name and address. There are many options you can do. If you're a student, you can use a student ID card or a bus ID card as your photo ID, but again, you're gonna have to prove your address. So something that has your address and name, that's like a prescription bottle would be, a prescription bottle label would be very good for a student to use to verify their name and address. Okay, so once you photocopy those two pieces of ID, or one if you've used your driver's license, you take that, and basically, here's what we do now. So now we have, you take your ballot. Okay, your completed ballot now goes into a special envelope. So you pick up the ballot that's marked number 2, right here. It's called the ballot secrecy envelope. Only the ballot goes in this envelope. So you take your ballot, put it in that envelope, seal this envelope. Shut. That's done. Put that down. Next, we're going to prepare to get ready to mail the ballot. Well, there's something else you're going to have to do. There's something called on this paper, that letter I told you, it says leadership. At the bottom of that leadership letter, there's something called a declaration form. I've already detached the bottom part of mine, but here it is. It says declaration form. You must sign the declaration form right here, just above the number 3, and you're basically declaring that you're allowed to vote in this leadership, and that's you who is signing. So once you've signed it, tear it off just like I have, and you take that declaration leadership form and pick up the other empty envelope that's called the election return envelope. In this envelope, you put your declaration form. You put the envelope that is sealed with your ballot, put that in as well. Then you also put in this envelope your photocopies of your identification. So put that in. Seal this envelope. And then you don't require a stamp because it's already postage paid. Thank you very much, Conservative Party of Canada. And drop it in the mailbox right away. Please fill out your ballots immediately. I cannot stress this enough. You don't want to have a delay in getting your ballot, reach central headquarters, and then you're not going to be eligible to vote because it arrived too late. Now, what happens if you really are too late and you've left this to the last minute and you're in an emergency situation? What are you going to do? Well, technically, you can vote. And again, for emergencies only, I would advise this. You can vote at the central polling station, which is in Toronto, at the Toronto Congress Centre in Etobicoke, Toronto. And you can vote between the hours of 10 and 4 p.m. But you have to bring in your mail-in ballot and your identification. That's why I'm suggesting just get this over with, vote by mail right away. But again, in emergency, you can go to Toronto and vote in person between the hours of 10 and 4. You must bring in your ballot and you must bring ID. Remember, it's much better to vote by mail. Do it right away and don't delay. I hope this video has been instructional for you, and I hope it's going to help you fill out your ballots, because I know that together we can send a very strong message that we want a leader who's going to be a strong voice for families in Canada. Thank you very much.